Thank you. Is my mic working? Yes, it is. Fascinating to hear Scott Solomon talk about our evolutionary future. We think that begins with procreation in space. So, is that the far future, or can that be the near future? Is it science fiction, or can it be science fact? Let's find out and join us on a journey in reproduction in space. The first part of the journey will be guided by Marta, our key science tiger. She has the amazing superpower to understand all these science facts and details, and combines that with a very clear vision about the bigger picture. Marta, the floor is yours.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Like Egbert was saying, we are going to talk about human reproduction and IVF in space. IVF, of course, stands for in vitro fertilization. We are talking basically about generating or conceiving human babies in space. And we are also going to talk about implications that this will have for Earth, for us humans, and beyond. So, in 1961, we witnessed to the first human, Yuri Gagarin, a Russian cosmonaut, doing Earth orbit, the first human Earth orbit aboard the Vostok 1 spacecraft, as you can see in this real footage. This event set the beginning of human space exploration activities. Now, this one I think you all know. In 1969, we witnessed the first human stepping on the moon, Neil Armstrong. When Armstrong stepped on the moon, he famously said, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for..." A little bit louder, please. Mankind. Correct. So, from 1971 onwards, Russia and the United States started tested a few space stations in low Earth orbit, human settlements for space exploration approximately 400 meters above the Earth's surface. It was only in 1998, though, that the first International Space Station was born, as you can see here, also known as ISS. More than 250 astronauts from 23 countries have carried research and development activities in the ISS, exploring scientific and technological advancements that provide substantial benefits for humanity back on Earth, innumerous benefits. So, in 2029, we will witness to the first human settlement on the moon. As you can see here, a little bit of a projection on space architecture and design. And in 2035, we will witness to the first human settlement on Mars. Now, starting in 2040, we have taken the first steps to become a cosmic civilization with the dual goals of preserving human existence and furthering our species' evolution. So our expansion into space will expose us to a variety of extreme environmental conditions that will instill or instigate new biological adaptations in humans. This, of course, will come also together with human enhancement techniques that will facilitate human adaptation to space. This, in turn, will endow us with new physical and mental capabilities that will challenge the way we perceive or understand the surrounding universe. So, in a universe in constant mutation, of course, we humans must refuse to stagnate. So, however, before we can colonize space, of course, we need to understand if we humans can reproduce in space. That is, if we can generate sustainable populations in space. The environment of space, unlike that on Earth, is characterized by differences in gravitational forces, radiation, you already know this, among other stressors that have a significant impact on most or major biological systems. So can humans and animals reproduce in space? What do you think about this? Animals and humans. Do you think any human already reproduced in space? Really? Not yet. Okay. But different animals, various species. So Since the 1960s, numerous efforts have been made to study the impact of space on reproduction in various species. Main research outcomes indicate that reproduction of non-mammalian species, as you can see here, these are real pictures. Imagine fruit flies, sea urchins, amphibians and fish can proceed in space in microgravity. This includes fertilization and stages of pre- and postnatal development in this species. And of course, there will be some developmental variations. We have this idea that when species reproduce in space, they have to reproduce in an equal way that they do on Earth. But we maybe need to start to think and open our minds that we are starting with the reproduction of these species to create different species, that maybe there will be extraterrestrial species, quite with significant differences from species we have on Earth. So here you can see Medaka fish, Japanese rice fish. They were the first Earth species to conceive and give birth in space. This was a study performed by Japanese researchers on board the Space Shuttle Columbia in July 1994. The fish were able to, as you can see in this real footage, to mate. They were also able to lay eggs. They hatched in space, and they gave birth to healthy fish puppies. And then return to Earth, also some of them to produce healthy offspring. However, we also know now that before these fish were sent into the space shuttle, they were also controlled in space. They were selected, the fish that didn't loop in the water, they were previously selected. So this makes the process of fertilization, of course, a little bit more successful and easier. Now, regarding reproduction of mammalian species such as mice in space and microgravity, research shows inconclusive and conflicting results. For example, pregnancy is possible in microgravity, although there are higher rates of pregnancy loss compared to pregnancies on Earth. Studies have also demonstrated that early embryonic development in mice is significantly affected by microgravity and radiation. For example, you will have DNA damage, epigenetic abnormalities, blastocysts, imagine embryo malformations. Some other studies show exactly the opposite results, saying that microgravity and radiation is not affecting early embryonic development in mice. So we have a lot to go in this kind of research. So far into our knowledge, no in vitro fertilization studies have been conducted in mammals in space. So to synthesize, until now, it remains uncertain how mammals can achieve successful reproduction in the space environment. So, in response to this unanswered question, we, SpaceBorn United, emerge as a transformative force with a clear mission to make human reproduction in space a tangible reality. This initiative lays down the foundations for the establishment of self-sustaining populations on distant celestial bodies, starting in low Earth orbit. Then we will explore human reproduction on the Moon and then on Mars. And who knows that our discoveries can be applied to the laws of the cosmos as a whole. So it is with this vision in place that I would like to introduce you to our amazing CEO, Dr. Egbert Edelbroek, also a great friend of mine. And he will now talk about how are we turning this mission into reality through advanced IVF automated techniques. Thank you very much. Dr. Egbert.
Thank you, Marta.